Hey boys and girls, welcome back to another math video. I'm so excited to continue our conversation about fractions. Sometimes everyone, not just students, adults too, they freak out about fractions. Hopefully these videos are going to help you not freak out because fractions are just another kind of number. So today, here's our focus. I can draw models for fractions. Yesterday, we worked on identifying models for fractions. Identify is a surface level doing word. Drawing is a little deeper because now you are in charge of creating some of the models instead of just having models given to you. Identifying is where we need to start, but now that we are identifying them properly, we can move deeper. That's the exciting part about math. Hopefully you know by now that the word model just means a representation or showing something. Tonight we're going to show models for fractions. If you think of the word draw, maybe immediately in your head you think of a picture, which is great. But draw a model can mean a lot of things. You could draw a picture, a number line. You can show it in words. There are lots of ways to draw models for fractions. Let's explore some of them. Here I have two pretty common fractions, 8/10 and 1/3. 8/10 and 1/3 are two fractions that I can draw a model to represent. The first thing that comes to my head when I hear draw is to choose some kind of shape. Maybe that came to your head too. If it did, awesome. Let's do the first one together, 8/10. Some of us really are stuck on using circles to show or represent fractions. Sometimes I use circles, but in this case, if I need 10 equal pieces, that is going to be hard for me to draw in a circle. So I am going to create a rectangle because it's just a bunch of straight lines. Here it is. Tenths tells me I need 10 equal pieces. So I drew a rectangle and I did my very best to include 10 equal pieces. Here they are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The numerator tells me a different part of the story. The denominator told me the size of the piece, or how many pieces I cut my rectangle into. The numerator tells me a different part of the story. Can you think of a part of this story? Right, maybe 8 pieces are shaded in. Maybe 8 pieces were eaten if we imagine this was a big tray of yummy brownies. It depends on the story, but the numerator does tell us how we can represent the fraction. The numerator is 8, so I am choosing to shade in 8 pieces. Pretty cool, huh? I just drew a model to represent this fraction. Do you think you could do it for 1/3? What would you draw? Pause the video and have a think. All right, now that you're back and you've drawn your model, how about I draw mine? I saw the denominator showed a 3. So I tried my very best to draw a circle and use 3 equal pieces. Here I made a little mistake and one is even a little bigger than the other. If that's happening for you, maybe just draw a rectangle or another shape that's easy for you to draw. The denominator tells me 3 equal pieces and the numerator tells me a different part of the story. Maybe 1 piece was eaten. Maybe I gave 1 piece to my friend. Anywho, 1/3 is a very specific fraction that needs to be represented in a specific way. So I'm going to shade 1/3. This may be what you thought of when you read, I can draw models for fractions, because these are pictures. But there are more than just one way to show a drawing to model a fraction. I drew a line and we're going to work in these spaces now. What do you think is another technique I could use to represent my fractions? Maybe you thought of a number line. That's what I thought of. So I'm going to draw a number line. And I know that my number line needs to be in 10 equal pieces. Here's my number line. It starts at 0 because I know 8/10 is bigger than 0. And then it ends at 1 because I know 8/10 isn't quite one whole yet, just like we learned. Now, if I have 10 equal pieces, my number line is going to have some pretty small areas in between each one. There's the bell. Sorry. So I'm going to do my best to cut up this number line or partition it into 10 equal pieces. Phew. Pretty sure I did it. Look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 equal pieces. And I'm looking for 8/10. Now, sometimes we make mistakes and we say 8. This isn't the number 8. This is 8/10. So where might 8/10 go on my number line? Pause and see if you can figure it out. Did you get it? Here. I see 0, 1/10, 2/10, 3, 4, 5/10, 6/10, 7/10, 8/10. Pretty cool, huh? I figured out 2 different ways to show one fraction. Now it's your turn. Pause the video and see if you can think of a different way to represent 1/3 that isn't drawing a picture. Did you draw a number line too? Did you write words? Maybe you wrote a story. Who knows? I'm going to draw another number line. So I know it's thirds, which means I need to divide my number line or partition my number line into 3 equal pieces, starting with the 0. Looks a lot different than my number line with tenths, doesn't it? Here I have 0/3, 1/3, 2/3, 3/3, or 1. I'm going to use a different colored marker to place a dot on 1/3. That should do the trick. That's another way I could represent a model for my fractions. The point is, there's a whole bunch of ways that you can draw models for fractions. It doesn't have to be circles. It could be number lines, words, stories, really anything works. So tomorrow, during math, let's think about some ways that we can represent fractions and make sure that we're doing it correctly, because that's the most important piece. Have a good night.